Hey everyone, my name is Andrew and welcome to the channel. On today's video, we're going to be talking about the 5 exercises that you can do at home in order to grow big and strong. No, just kidding. But really, there are 13 main muscle groups in the human body. These 5 exercises that we're going to do today will cover all 13 items. The 13 items are listed to the right. Or, I think that way. My left, your right. Regardless, we're going to do all these 5 exercises, and as we go through them all, I'm going to check off the list that you see. Now, these 5 exercises are all you need to cover all 13 main muscle groups. You literally don't need to do another exercise for the rest of your life if you don't want to. In addition, I'm going to have variations for each exercise that I'm going to show you today. I'll show you a slightly easier version and a slightly more difficult version if you've advanced up to it. Let's get into today's video. Jumping into number 1 on the list, we have the squat with calf raises. In the squat, you're going to work out your quadriceps, your gluteus maximus, and your calves. As you go into the squat, make sure you go down as low as your flexibility will allow you. Then as you raise up, go high onto the top of your toes. An easier variation of the squat is finding something that you can use to help pull yourself up. In this example, I found a chair. A more difficult variation of the squat is the one-legged squat. It makes it about twice as difficult and makes it very difficult to balance as well. I find it a little bit easier to balance if I put the leg that I'm not using out in front of me. The second exercise on the list is walking lunges. This is going to work most of the same muscles as the squat, however now we can use our hamstrings. As you do the walking lunge, make sure you keep your back straight up. An easier variation to the walking lunge is the standing lunge. A more difficult variation of the lunge is the jumping lunge. And for some bonus points, we can do backward lunges as a more difficult variation to the walking lunge. Number 3 on the list, we have the push-up. The push-up is going to be a great exercise for your chest, your triceps, and your shoulders. So notice when I do the push-up, I try to make my body as straight as possible, and I do this by flexing my abs. I'm going all the way down and back up again. No rush. An easier variation of the push-up is by dropping your knees down to the floor and doing the exact same thing. Once again, making sure that I'm flexing my abs the whole time. A more difficult variation is by propping your feet up. By doing this, you're going to put more weight on your arms. Also, feel free to vary where you put your hands on the floor. The fourth exercise is the good V-up. This is going to work both the upper and the lower portion of your abs. So what you'll do is keep your legs as straight as possible and lift them as high as possible. Then, take your hands and bring them to your ankles. An easier variation of this will be by putting your hands to your side and just doing a leg lift. Feel free to bring your knees in if that's easier for you. And finally, the more difficult variation for the V-up is by varying the speed at which you do the V-up. In the beginning, I do a slower variation. I'll bring the legs up real nice and slow, I'll hold it at the top for just a minute, and then bring it back down real slow. And then I speed it up. The last exercise on the list is the pull-up. I got this pull-up bar at Walmart for about $17. The pull-up is going to work your biceps, your forearms, your trapezius, and your back. Notice how I do the pull-up, I go all the way down and all the way back up. Here's an easier variation of the pull-up. It's the negative pull-up. Use your feet to help you jump up, and then slowly come back down. And finally, the more difficult variation of the pull-up is just by doing it even slower. Hold it at the top and slowly come back down.